joined now by our international correspondent, Alex Newman. Alex, thanks for joining us today.
Thanks for having me, Duke. Great to be with you.
Well, we see the other foot fall now. It's one thing when Common Core standardized, lowered, and utterly destroyed our kids' learning opportunities with weak standards and a lot of politics. Now you've got schools across the country, starting in New Jersey, who are beginning to adopt curriculum and standards geared towards minority groups like LGBT students. Talk about what's happening in New Jersey.
Yeah, thank you, Duke. So just last week, the New Jersey State Board of Education adopted probably the most radical set of standards yet. It includes all kinds of perversion, promoting LGBTQ, telling the children they should, choose their gender identities. And then they added to the mix, they became the first state to officially adopt quote unquote climate change standards. And so these it's already happening across America, but now it's institutionalized. These poor children are going to be absolutely bombarded with propaganda claiming that the gas they exhale is actually a toxic pollution and in need of UN regulation and taxation.
Yeah, so this is what you hit it on the head, institutionalization. Now, and I promise you, in the wake of these riots, how soon before we have a 1619 curriculum, a radical, black separatist, militant, Black Lives Matter curriculum, starting with kindergarten and working your way out through high school, where the entire theme is going to be white privilege, white supremacy, branding every aspect of our past racist and conflicted, pulling down all of our great heroes. Thomas Jefferson, college students in Missouri just yesterday, they want Jefferson gone because he's a slaveholder. Forget everything else about Thomas Jefferson, right? One of the most probably one of the most 5 or 10, probably one of the most 5 most important people in terms of actually the eventual abolition of slavery because of his views and the way he structured things in the Constitution. Nope, gotta go. So give us a little bit more detail, if you can, about what they're doing in New Jersey, starting with this special interest group, the LGBTQ agenda.
Yeah, and so, we've been communicating with activists, in particular Victoria, who is with the Team PYC, Team Protect Your Children, an amazing lady. I consider her to be kind of a superhero. She started off with a group of just 5 people, and now she's got teams all across the state. I think they're active in 19 out of 21 counties in New Jersey. And they've been trying so hard to fight this. Now they're at the point where they're just hoping that parents will make the decision to opt out. It's very, very sad because they did have a lot of support. As people learned what was in these standards, there was outrage. But you see Planned Parenthood behind the scenes cheering this, and now that it's institutionalized, they're celebrating it. They know, hey, these kids are going to be sexualized, they'll be fornicating. That means more abortion money for us. You've got a group called Garden State Equality, a very, very radical, militant LGBT activist group that is just out there cheering about these standards. And it's really, they're putting a bullseye on the innocence of children, trying to get them involved in homosexuality, transgenderism, all this kind of stuff. I mean, from the time they're tiny, the climate change indoctrination also, it starts in kindergarten under the new standards. And it will be just a barrage of propaganda. And there's huge implications to all this, right? It's not just for the sake of normalizing homosexuality. It's not just for the sake of, brainwashing kids about climate change. There are ultimate objectives here, right? They want to break down the family. With the climate change propaganda, they want to convince Americans that we need to restructure our economy, that we need to allow the UN more and more control over our lives, over our energy, over our taxation systems. So there are some long-range goals here, and they're really going to be accelerated through the use of these standards and through the indoctrination of children. And it's not going to stop in New Jersey. This is going to keep spreading like a cancer across the United States. It's already in conservative states. It's just not formalized like it is in New Jersey, but it's coming to a state near you if it's not there already.
Just take a look at what the chaos has been unleashed by these radical groups across the country right now. If you're for defunding police, if you are for labeling every cop a racist because of what a statistically insignificant number of them do, if you think that burning down buildings and looting is a form of protest, just be aware of this, Mom and Dad. They've been doing this to your kids before you even saw it in the streets. This has been who do you think these protesters are? 2 generations of kids who have been fed a healthy diet of social justice, progressive social justice in their schools, and very little math and science and very little critical thinking. This is just the beginning of this. This is the tip of the iceberg.
It is. That's exactly right, Duke. And parents, if you value not just your own children, but the security of your nation, your individual liberty, you've got to pay attention.
Hey everyone, and thanks for watching. If If you want to get your kids out of these ridiculous public schools, consider Freedom Project Academy's Judeo-Christian online school for students in K through 12, enrolling March through July. Request your free information packet at freedomforschool.com. That's freedomforschool.com.